Hello, you fabulous people. It is Wednesday, and we are here to talk about fabulous things. I'm Elise Tager, and I am coming to you from sunny Northern California, where it is absolutely freezing. My apologies to anybody from Minnesota, but we get thin-skinned here in California, and it feels really cold to me. So anyway, if you are joining me from Facebook, don't forget to drop a comment with your name in it. Hey, Facebook user, drop a comment with your name in it, because when I'm coming to you from StreamYard, all I see is Facebook user in the comments. So I want to know who you are. So let me back up a minute. I'm coming to you from StreamYard. I like to use StreamYard because I can stream onto all of my Facebook groups and onto YouTube and my Facebook page and all of that. So I'm covering more bases that way. So, but the disadvantage is when I'm coming to you from StreamYard, I can't see in the comment section. You have to identify yourself so I can see who you are. Julie, hey Julie, good, thank you. Thank you for doing that. So I figured I'd trained all you guys by now, but maybe not. So anyway, if you're joining me from Facebook, drop your name and your comment. If you're viewing, please drop a comment and say hi and let me know where you're coming from. I always like to know that I'm talking with you, not at you. So I think that's important for all of us. Let me check in on Facebook and see how we're doing over there. Okay. All right. So let's get started. I am very excited about this one, this topic. And I jokingly said in the description, this is going to be about taking out the trash before 2021. So let me back up to introduce myself, because some of you may not know me if you're watching on the replay. I'm Elise Tager. I'm a business coach to ambitious female entrepreneurs and creator of the Solo to CEO program. I help female entrepreneurs who are either solopreneurs, one-woman bands, or have been in business for a year or two and have a team, but are still acting as if they were a solopreneur. I help them get themselves out of worker bee mode, transforming to become the true leader and the CEO of their soon-to-be booming business. So that's who I am, and that's what I do. And today what I wanted to talk about is taking the trash out, as I said. And what I meant by that is cleaning up your mindset before we go into 2021. I talk about mindset a lot on purpose, because it's very important that we wrap our arms around the fact that we have to be coming from a solid mindset if we're going to build. It's also, these areas they come and go. Mindset issues come and go. They come up in your radar, they go down on your radar. So developing tools over time to handle mindset issues that you might be having is part of what I do as a coach, to help you to pull together those tools so you can conquer some of the things that might be bringing you to your knees. So you know the drill. Turn off your tabs, turn off your phone. Make sure that you're giving me your complete attention so you're not distracted. And this session is not about tactics. It's not about your offer. It's not about pricing. It's not about anything other than getting ready for 2021 mentally and emotionally. I'm going to lay out the patterns that are creating your own ceiling and keeping you very stuck. I don't think frequently we don't recognize that we have patterns that are keeping us stuck, but we do. And I just want to point out how you can identify those for yourself. So that little voice in your head that says, I can't do this, I can't possibly do this. The mindset issue specifically around imposter syndrome, where you start to doubt yourself. This is one of the ones that comes up probably the most frequently for entrepreneurs that I work with. And that voice is coming from your unconscious mind. I can't imagine, who am I? All of that mindset stuff around doubt, self-doubt, is coming from somewhere back in your unconscious. And so somewhere in your developing years, you took on the message that you weren't enough, or you couldn't, or you weren't, or something that was very negative. And you take that on as if it's the Bible, right? So you start to believe it unconsciously, but this voice starts to run your unconscious. And your unconscious, if it's not grappled with, starts to run your conscious mind and how you go out into the world, how you appear into the world, and how you feel about being in the world. So the purpose of the unconscious, I am no therapist. And so I'm just sharing with you things that I have read and learned in the process of learning how to be a coach. The purpose of the unconscious is to keep us safe, to keep us safe. So everything from running from danger to knowing not to fall off the cliff to anything that is perceived danger, the unconscious mind is there to protect us from that. You recreating the known and comfortable, even if it's negative. So let me go back a second. So another issue that might be coming up for you might be money scarcity. So what happens is that an issue will come up for you and your unconscious mind will say, that feels dangerous for us. Y'all, me, you all, that feels dangerous. And so you need to protect yourself by not moving forward. And that's the job of the unconscious, is to protect you in an area where you feel safe because you've been safe in the past. So the experience, what you've experienced in the past that has kept you safe is what the unconscious is going to keep trying to make happen for you. So even if it's a negative, right? And so this is, when I say safe, what I mean is familiar. And so even if, money scarcity is certainly not safe, but that might be something that was so ingrained in you that it's a comfort for you now. Feeling endangered in some way, shape, or form might be within your comfort zone. And so unconsciously, you were trying to stay within that comfort zone. And that's what the unconscious mind is trying to do for you. So let me walk you through a loop. Now listen up to this, because this is something that is really important. And I want to hear from you. Does this resonate with you? Does this sound like something that you're doing, that you do for yourself? So here's the loop that happens in our little minds. You start your business with a passion, right? Passion and energy. You're excited about, no matter what you're doing. Whether you're an artist, Julie, you're an artist. Whether you're a coach, whether you're a chiropractor, whether you're whatever you do, you start with passion and you put yourself out in the marketplace. You start selling them what you do. You get a few wins that spark your confidence, right? Woohoo, I'm really taking off. This is a go. This sounds good. Things start to go wrong. You might have lost a customer. You might have had several no's instead of yeses to your sales offers. You might have, no gallery. Julie, you might have galleries that are not saying yes. So that passion, start to get some negative influence. You start to get some no's coming your way. And you don't see the success that you were every time you go to bat. So what happens is you're kind of shocked. Your unconscious is kind of shocked because you were in full speed ahead mode. And now you're getting negative feedback, right? This isn't what I thought it was going to be. So this is when imposter syndrome starts to creep in. Is this resonating with you guys? Let me see if I hear some yes, lots of passion. Hey, Christy. Oh, good. So nice to see you, sweet girl. So is this resonating with you? This whole, you start out with a bang, something goes wrong, you get some negative feedback, and suddenly what your brain does is, well, who am I to do this? Oh my gosh, this was a mistake. Oh my gosh, imposter syndrome starts to creep in. So even these thoughts reinforce a subconscious image and message that you have from past experience. Remember, your subconscious mind is there to protect you from change. It's trying to keep you in the familiar. So it's trying to protect you from hurt. So if the new feedback is negative, here are the tapes that start running. And again, tell me if this makes sense to you. If you've had these tapes run. See, I told you this would never work. Right? The first no you get, or the first two no's you get when you're putting a package out there, or a coaching program, or a new class of some kind, you get a couple of no's, And then what your mind does to say, see, I told you this would never work, right? I knew this would fail. Or if you succeeded, you've gone out with a new package, you've gone with something, maybe you raised your rates and someone said yes, and I mean, whatever, you've met with success. What can happen also is, I've never seen this kind of success before. I mean, it's a fluke, right? This is a fluke. I'm a fraud. How could I possibly maintain or duplicate this, right? This was just a mistake, right? Someone hired me at this price. It's never going to happen again, right? I feel like a fraud. This is just a mistake. The first time I had someone say yes to my much increased pricing, my first thought in my own little mind, and I did not say it out loud, was, she must be crazy. I just put a price out there that I thought was ridiculous, and she said yes. And so my thought process went into, oh my God, what, is she nuts? But I didn't say that. But that was where my subconscious mind took me. This must be a fluke. I must be a fraud. Does that sound familiar to some of you guys? So what's happening there is you don't have an experience from the past to draw from so you can believe that what's happening now is true, right? It all feels fake because you've never experienced it before. There's nothing you can draw on, right? So your past experiences are, I was operating at this level, now I'm trying to operate at this level, and, how dare I jump that high, right? So, and even if you meet success, the loop that happens in your head is, who am I to jump that high? Who am I to think this could continue? This was a mistake. Me questioning the sanity of the woman who hired me at that rate is a good example of that. So and that's because you don't have any familiarity from the past to take you into believing that this new experience could happen. So let me take a look at comments because I'm trying to say. All right, Christy, you say this causes self-doubt. Yep, I think it's the universe's way of testing you to see if you really want this new goal. Probably. My coaching is worth every penny. Well, thank you, my dear. But again, because we don't have a frame of reference, our first thought is this is a fluke. I'm a fraud. So this is what happens, and this is the loop that happens. So now you've got this belief that you've reached too high. This is a fluke, or I knew this would fail, or who did I think I could ever do to succeed here? But this is what happens. This is the next part of this loop. You fall back into a safer version of yourself. You lower your prices. You stop reaching out. You get timid and continue to play small. The bridge between the physical and the spiritual is faith. So what's happening with this, let me go back to what happens this next part of the loop. What you start to do is pull yourself back. And I want to hear if you've had this experience where you felt you've reached too high, and gotten a ding on the head with a no or something negative. And so what you do is you pull back like a turtle pulling back in their shells. And what you start to think is, should I lower my prices? Maybe the next time I go out, I'll go back to my earlier price, or, I don't feel comfortable now reaching out to see if I can't get more clients. There's this whole inward turn that happens there because it's safer. If you pull inward, you stop reaching out, you get timid and you fall back into playing smaller. So you'd established a new goal, a new threshold, and a new high. And if you meet negative results, you're going to fall back into, oh my gosh, I can't reach that high. So the difference between over here, when you're thinking small or previously, and reaching higher is not going to come easily. You have to do it with faith. The bridge between the physical and the spiritual is faith. Faith and taking the leap is an essential part of the process of being able to up-level yourself. Because you don't have pictures yet of what it's going to look like at that new higher level, right? So if you are taking on a new type of client, if you're offering a package that is more sophisticated or more robust than you had in the past, you have to have faith and believe in yourself and confidence that this is going to be successful, because you don't have any proof yet. And the only way to get to the next step is to do it with faith, meaning you believe in yourself or some higher power, but whatever you want to believe in works for you. But you have to take the next step, not knowing where you're going to land or how it's going to land. But you have to believe that you are going to get there, or you're in the process of getting there. So again, your ego or your subconscious is going to fight for its life. It's going to fight to keep you where you were. And anything that you're doing outside of that, it's going to fight very hard with those thoughts of, who do you think you are? You know, this success was a fluke. This is what the unconscious is doing to keep you coming back into that comfort zone. So how do you get out of this loop? Let me step back again. Is this sounding familiar to you guys? I'm hearing from Christy. Anybody else want to jump in and say, yes, this feels familiar to me? This loop is very familiar to me. And I think I've shared with you guys that my feeling about mindset issues is that they never go away. If you have an issue, it's probably going to come back and back and back. But the more tools you develop to deal with it, the smaller the voice gets. So, and the quicker you are to be able to resolve the issue. So, money mindset issues, you start feeling anxiety and panic coming up about money. If you've gone through this a number of times, you start to develop tools for talking yourself off the edge, figuring out what you need to do to get rid of the anxiety. You develop tools to be able to handle the mindset issues. Same with that imposter syndrome. When you hear that voice, and I had a therapist at one time who said, why don't you name the voice? So you're differentiating it from yourself. So that unconscious voice, give it a name. So you can say, thanks, Penny, thanks for sharing, but I don't need to listen to you're a fraud or this was a fluke or any of that. Thanks for sharing. I know you're trying to keep me safe, and you keep rolling on. I thought that was great because it differentiated me from that thing that was happening with that unconscious voice. So how do you get out of this endless loop? You have to experience something that's disruptive, right? Something out of your comfort zone that's not predictable, that's uncomfortable. So you need to take a leap of faith. You don't need to know the outcome. There are no guarantees. You need to trust in yourself. This is where we talked last time. I've talked several times about the importance of confidence in the work you're doing and in yourself, whether it's personal confidence or confidence in your product, and that's what makes you a good salesperson. This is another manifestation of that, where if you have the confidence in yourself, and it should feel very calming. If you have the confidence in your program or your products or your services, your ability to take that next up level on a leap of faith is going to be easier. I've succeeded before. I'll do it again. I keep saying this gets easier as I get older, right? I'll be 68 in January, and certainly I've been through enough of these cycles that I can say I've had enough successes that I'm pretty sure that this will turn out fine. When you're in your 20s and 30s, you don't have that background to look back on. But you have to be able to go blind and know that sometimes you might fail, and that's fine because you'll figure it out. And what does failing mean anyway? So you have to be able to get yourself into an uncomfortable situation knowing that it will turn out okay. So you don't know the outcome. There's no guarantee to the outcome. You need to trust in yourself. Allow yourself to leap to a new level. You have to give yourself permission and maybe even force yourself. Sometimes we hang out in our comfort zone too long, and it gets too squishy and too easy. And if you're going to grow at all, you need to give yourself a kick in the butt, which is what a good coach does. But you need to be able to do that for yourself too. So is this uncomfortable? Absolutely. Is this scary? Absolutely. Sometimes it's really expensive. But that's why we talked about fear previously, is you have to be able to look at it in the face and say, thanks, Penny, for sharing. And be able to go forward to that next level, up level that you say you want to achieve. right? Even if it's scary, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's expensive, which is another form of being scary, right? So you need to make an intentional decision to disrupt. Because, and this is really the main point, if you're making decisions from where you were in your comfort zone with your unconscious mind, you'll be making decisions based on that comfort level, right? In other words, your unconscious mind is there to keep you where you were. What got you there, what got you here won't get you there. That's a phrase I use all the time. So, if you're still operating out of the same mental space, you're never going to get into any different space. So you have to be able to disrupt. So you need to make a decision from your future self. So what would a CEO do? What would a 7-figure earner do? Not what would I, Miss Solopreneur, what would I do? What would I do? Because I'm a solopreneur and maybe I'm making X amount of money and this is my frame of reference. You have to flip that switch and be able to say, okay, what would a CEO do? How would a CEO approach this? What would the thinking be around how to make this decision from a CEO perspective, not worker bee perspective? Does that make sense? So you have to sort of put it on like a new hat. Who wears hat? A new dress. And just sort of almost artificially put yourself in that new mindset. What would a CEO do? What would my bigger self do here? And operate from that. This has been mind altering for me, is to start thinking like the person or business person I want to evolve to. So you have to make a very intentional change. 3 steps. You want to acknowledge that mindset issue, whatever it is. It's so easy to be in denial about mindset issues because it's easier. And so the way you're going to handle this is you have to acknowledge that you have whatever this mindset issues are. When I went through this on the last launch pad, someone said, I listed out a bunch of mindset issues, and she said, I've got all of those. So I would say, focus on one at a time so you don't get overwhelmed, but acknowledge it, that's your issue. Own it, and don't be in denial at all. Because if you keep it in denial, you're going to keep it underground and you're never going to want to grapple with it. And then my middle name is Baby Steps. So identify 3 baby steps that you can do immediately that will disrupt your thinking, right? The easiest example I can use is when we talk about time management and perfection paralysis. And so people who are perfectionists, my challenge to them is always to say, find one task on your list that's not getting done, and I want you to put a deadline on it, and I want you to get it done and out the door by that day, period. No matter what it looks like, no matter how many typos are in there, done is better than perfect. Get it done. And so the same is true with any mindset issue. Identify it, own it, name 3 baby steps that you can take immediately that will disrupt the way you normally handle that mindset issue. Make it different. So what could you do? What are some of the things you could do? Well, let me pause for a second and just check in on comments here. Someone says, oh yeah, okay. All right, let me hop over to Facebook, see if people are lurking over there. Okay. All right. So what could you do? You're trying to push yourself out of that safe space that your subconscious is trying to keep you in. What could you do to disrupt? Remember, we're talking about disrupting. You could work with a coach, join a program, join a mastermind, something that's going to give you feedback from the outside. You want to make sure that you're surrounding yourself by people who up-level and challenge you. Christy and I had a wonderful talk a couple of days ago. We were going to go for a walk, but it was raining. We have a history of not being able to get out the door with each other. So we talked on the phone. But surrounding yourself with people that they are ahead of you. It's like playing tennis with someone who can play tennis better than you can. You want to up-level yourself by surrounding yourself with people who are ahead of you. And so talking with Christy, who I feel is ahead of me in many ways, it was just a chance for us to show each other up, and be able to do more than we thought we could have. So the people you surround yourself are very important. What I love to do is to make sure that I'm connected with, and this is so important, especially now in COVID, connected with people that are that flavor of people to me, right? Whether that's with Zoom calls that I orchestrate, right? I might connect 4 or 5 women entrepreneur friends that I feel are that right flavor of people who are going to up-level me. I'm a part of a networking organization that is full of women like this. The Solopreneur to Entrepreneur group, which I'm so delighted to say is full of women like this. Participate in the group more, get involved, ask questions, respond to questions. This is a group of women you want to hang out with. And so this is surrounding yourself with that energy is going to help you disrupt the mindset issues that are keeping you stuck. But you have to work at this. You can't be treading water in yesterday's mindset and think you're going to make changes for next year. So what are you going to do to disrupt the mindset issues that you're currently in? I love to work with people who know they're ready to make change. When I say I'm a business coach for ambitious female entrepreneurs, that word is there intentionally. I want to work with women who are ready to make change in their business, who are hungry to make change in their business. So if you know you're ready, let me know. I would love to talk to you about whether or not you and I can work together and how we might work together. What my favorite part of working with women who are ambitious like this is helping them get through this loop I just described, because this comes up time and time again, right? The one thing I've said many times about mindset issues there, you can't ever just click the box. You can't ever say, I have money anxiety handled, right? Ta-da, I'm done. It just doesn't happen. Well, in my experience, it just doesn't happen that way. The stuff comes up again and again. This is the same way in therapy. You find that you're going through issues that you thought you handled 2 years ago, and they keep coming up. So you need to be able to go full circle and spiral upwards and not downwards, if that makes sense, because you have more tools, because you're surrounding yourself by the right people, because you have disruptive elements in your life, like a coach, like a mastermind, like a group of women who are going to support you. If you do the work works, right? You can't sit still and tread water and think it's going to work. You've got to make an effort to get yourself into a different mindset to make sure that you're ready for the next up-level stage of your life. So think long and hard about what you want to be in 2021. Not what you want to do, because right now I'm not talking about strategy. I'm not talking about setting up your goals and your plans for 2021. We can talk about that another time. What I really want to make sure that you're doing, and I said this last week too, I want you to take the time this December to really reflect on, are you in the emotional and mental and mindset state that you want to be in to go into 2021? And if not, let's get together and do some work together, because these are issues you want to get at least acknowledge and start to handle before you launch into a new year. So this is shorthand to get you to your success. So if I can help you with any of these mindset issues, I talk about mindset all the time because I think it's so important. If you want help with any of these, I'll put a link and you can schedule a call with me. We'll just take half an hour and walk through whatever your mindset issues are and at least start to tease apart where you might start working on this stuff. You are not alone. So again, come back in the group. If you've been lurking, come back in the group and participate more. We are your peeps, right? We are the women who are the badass, the up-leveling, the women who are going to support you in doing what it is that you want to do, being the woman and the businesswoman that you want to be. So there you go. I'll put a link when I file this video. Or if you want to schedule a call, you can just click on that link. It'll take you to my schedule. Let me just take a look at a couple of comments here. Christy, you say faith is so important and also having coaching support from those who have been through it before. Absolutely. I keep saying this, but it's so important. If you're only operating from what's in your own head, that's what you'll get back, right? Is what if you knew how to solve things, you would have solved them. So it needs disruption. You need influence from the outside to get you outside of your own head, so you can come up with solutions to even things that are nitty gritty as imposter syndrome. So Pam, Holland, Andrew, so good to see you. So true. It keeps coming up. I know. Facebook user, whoever you are, you like the idea of the upward spiral. That's how I view mindset issues. Is that, as I said, they never go away. I mean, no matter what I've accomplished in my career, money issues always come up for me. I'm not, chewing my nails and hiding in the closet because I'm terrified. That might have been me, 30 years ago. But when I'm faced with a new up-level reality, I don't withdraw into imposter syndrome. I withdraw into, oh my God, financial quakes, but we all have our issues. And you would be silly to think that I, as a coach, don't have them. Believe me, I'm overrun with mindset issues myself. But as you get older, you get better at anticipating them and knowing what your hot buttons are and having more tools to handle those. So any other comments, you guys? The upward spiral is the point I wanted to make about how I like to think about these mindset issues. They never go away. Hopefully you're getting better and better at dealing with them quicker and with less pain than you have in the past. You guys, any other comments? This is my word to the wise for going into 2021. Before you start thinking about strategy, before you start thinking about blocking out your year, if you haven't done it already, lay the foundation. Make sure that your mind is clear. Take out the trash. Make sure that you're clear about your mindset issues and get as solid as you can as you walk into 2021. So that's it for me, kids. Any other comments that you want to share, just drop them in the comment section. As always, if you're watching the replay, please comment. I circle back and I respond to your comments and answer your questions, so don't be shy. And that's it for me. So you guys, thank you so much for joining me. I will see you in the group and then next Wednesday. So have a great rest of your day, everybody.